Currently, my favorite team rivalry will be Cloud9 and Cloud9 Academy.
NA versus EU also. Seems like they're always just going at it, and NA's been winning recently, so go NA.
Cloud9 versus TSM, the huge giants that always win the league. It's always exciting to see them play.
Clutch versus TSM, just because Clutch now has TSM's number, and it's fun to see TSM fans be salty.
The favorite player rivalry, I think Double versus Aframu. There's a lot of history there, and I just love watching them play.
Videos and Smithy.
Bjergsen versus Doublelift, because they're previous teammates and both very big leaders in the league.
Favorite rivalry? It's probably Big versus Kwon. It's always rubbing the wrong way that Kwon took big spot back in Energy.
Probably say St. Vicious and Crumbs. They seem to have some heated commentary when they get together.
Sneaky on the bench. He's losing really hard. I want him to not be on the bench anymore.
My favorite league rivalry, Shen versus Zed. It's ninjas, man. I mean, come on.
I think it's Teemo versus anyone, because Teemo sucks, and that's just a known fact.
I'm with the last guy. Teemo does suck.
Yeah, I was surprised no Bjergsen versus Jensen. They had so many finals matchups, but I guess not in the league. It's kind of hard to have that rivalry.
Well, hey, welcome back to the NA LCS Countdown. We're about 9 minutes away from Champion Select, so before we get there, you were both schooled by the fan predictions yesterday. I'm hoping that you've changed out your crystal ball and tea leaves for today's matches. Let's go ahead and take a look at what you have predicted for our 5 scheduled games today. We do have a difference between the two of you, finally. In that 100 Thieves C9 matchup. Let's go ahead and start there, talking about why you guys chose the picks that you did.
I understand week 1, 100 Thieves looked terrible, but they said that they went in with a very serious approach in their week. They practiced a lot more about what they are actually going to do in this meta, and I thought they looked a lot better yesterday. Yes, it was against OpTic, which you don't want to read too far into. Or FlyQuest, excuse me. But either way, the way they dominated and they had really interesting picks while still keeping things within their own wheelhouse impressed me a lot. With a C9 kind of struggling, despite looking good, they still lose their games.
Yeah, I think this is a really tough game to call as well. Even though C9 is 1-2, and we're always wondering if they're going to start bringing the main roster back in there, I think they've looked pretty good in their 3 games. I think there are going to be some LCS jitters. They were talking about before week 1 that it was about 60% excited, 40% nervous. As that gets more towards the lower nervousness, I think they get better. And it's, to me, a bit of a toss-up, and I'm just going to say Cloud9. The coin would agree as well, so I got that going.
But you know where the coin disagrees? Took my advice from the end of the show yesterday. Went for Golden Guardians over Echo Fox.
Roll swap meta.
That's how I'm going to beat the coin dash.
Is it? All right, well, the other matchup I want to talk about is a very big one. It's Team Liquid versus TSM. You got the perennial powerhouse in TSM up against the reigning champions in Team Liquid.
I was surprised you took TSM here, just because while Team Liquid did have that one loss, it feels like a very wide spectrum in between their wins and their losses, where it's like, okay, you int level 1 on Vladimir, you lose that game. But the other ones, they look very good mechanically and have good drafts. So I'm surprised to see you pick TSM, but I just think that their consistent level of play is much higher right now for TSM.
Yeah, I don't really know what to make of these teams. I think Grig has actually looked pretty good in for Mike Young. And when you're looking at preseason power rankings, at least when we did them on the dive, TL ranked number 1 and TSM ranked number 2. Also, that's what everyone is expecting to be the final last split. These teams have extremely powerful rosters, but neither of them have been dominant in the regular season. So I think it's a huge matchup, and I favored TSM a little bit because I like what Grig and Bjergsen are doing, and I think if they're coordinated, they're going to be able to close.
So you think the tipping point is the mid-jungle for TSM?
Yeah, I mean, I think the tipping point in the game they lost was when Bjergsen made that invade in blue buff and Sven and Mithy got caught down bottom. If they keep their cohesion together, I think they'll be all right.
All right, there you have it. With game 1 around the corner, Zabu team believes the org's upgrades will spell success for them this split.
I think we were smarter than the spring split. We have better facilities. The fact that we actually transferred the academy team from Dallas to Los Angeles to work with them on a daily basis helps us a lot. And I'd say, yeah, the player changes as well helped us a lot. I think there is a very huge talent pool in NA. You just need to dig a little bit, and I'm really happy with the newcomers. So I think, yeah, we have a pretty good start right now. The meta change every 2 days, so I can say, yes, I have a good grasp to today, and tomorrow it won't be true anymore. So I think we understand some things, but I don't think there is very big strategic aspect of this meta. It's pretty much like the best player wins in lane. So we understand pretty much how we can win, but I hope it will change, actually. So yeah, France can win the whole World Cup, but they have maybe to step a little bit. But at least, you know, the results are here, so I'm really happy. Let's go, France.
Here at the NALCS Countdown, we keep a suggestion box, and we noticed a recurring theme of pros reminding us that every great sport needs great rivalries. You've got Bird versus Magic, you got Dash versus Dark Dash, you got Flash versus J-Dong. Always a beacon of factual reporting and definitely not manufactured drama, we were humbly willing to accommodate in spotlighting League of Legends' greatest rivalry.
It's Rivalry Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. Get ready for the most anticipated grudge match of the year, Kwon versus Big.
It all started back before NRG was formed. We were just competing for the spot, and you know, he took my spot. And now I'm gonna take the W next week.
He took his spot, and now he's looking for revenge.
Yeah, I think we played 2 times, right? 2 times.
They've played twice.
I think either Keane carries and Flame, or they lose, because the bot lane's a joke.
At least right now, I think we're like about similar skill level. At the moment, I'd say I'm like bottom 4.
That means he's calling Big bottom 4, because he's also bottom 4. That's a sick bird. Hashtag sick bird.
I wouldn't know, but I know he experiences a lot of failure.
I wanna win any game, but yeah, I wanna win versus him too.
Pure unfiltered rage.
I forgot Santorin's a walking award.
Caught in the crossfire.
Big's like manky stuff right now. He has a bottom 4, kinda sad.
Definitely not edited.
Zach was like, yeah, let's create this fake rivalry. Well, okay. I'm all in, you know?
All in. Kwon versus Big.
How can you support Big? He's a bully. Jet.
Big is just better. I understand that you like supporting the wrong thing when you're choosing between two. That's why you're in the Kwon jersey.
You've had some bad takes before, but this is unprecedented.
We're on air, by the way. Just let's show some composure here, and let's let the players settle it with their performance on stage, shall we?
Big's better.
I mean, clearly, Mark, you are Team Kwon, and over here we got Team
You can't
Big.
even put the jersey on properly.
I'm supporting my person. You're just supporting a team.
A Big jersey. It's very
keep
clear.
facing that way. The less I see of your face, the better.
I mean, look, if you want to weigh in at home on this very large rivalry, Big versus Kwon, please feel free to do so, because clearly we have a divided desk in here. But, I mean, is there any very more specific reason why you're, say, hashtag Kwon over hashtag Big?
I mean, you could see there, Kwon is a great guy, all right? I like supporting good people.
He called Big bottom 4.
He, out of necessity, he was getting attacked. I mean, if you come at him, he's got to defend himself, but he didn't want Big to go out and be a jerk.
What about Big over here? Why?
You always want to make the first move. Big made the first move. He's the aggressor.
All right, well, we only got 2 minutes until Champion Select, so let me gather your win conditions for this first game between FlyQuest and OpTic. Mark, as you're a Kwon supporter, I'm going to give you FlyQuest win conditions. Hit me with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't go for a funnel strat. Don't go for any late game stuff. Pick a level 2 jungler and go aggressive at these guys. OpTic has looked pretty good. I'll give them that in the late game. But I don't want them to get there, so get aggressive and get aggressive early on.
All right, Jet, what's the response here for OpTic being the big supporter?
I think when OpTic loses, it's because they get split pushed a little bit too much and poked out and choked out of the game. So if they take strong initiation, that's one of the biggest things for them. Since PowerOfEvil is usually pretty strong, Arrow is usually pretty strong, it actually lets them get to team fights. So that's what they need to do.
So is Big the initiator, though? Is it something like a...
Of course.
Oh.
Big can't initiate.
And he's going to be so
Big can't initiate.
Well, clearly there's more dissension on the desk here, ladies and gentlemen. But as we narrow into game 1, it is time for us to throw it out to the casters in the battle arena for the call.
Thank you, Dash, and welcome for game 1 of the day. I am Julian Patriot God, joined by my longtime rival turned ally, Sam Kensler. Whoa, we're about to get ourselves into Champ Select for what is a very heated matchup, both between these two teams and between these two support players.
Yeah, super excited to see these guys go head-to-head. But honestly, looking at these two teams as well, there have been some patterns emerging if you just do a little bit of quick analysis. And FlyQuest, you know, they've had a couple of repeat losses to Mundo. One of them was actually to Alltech, swapping top and playing the Mundo. But there are some key picks here that OpTic may be looking at. Whereas from the side of FlyQuest, if you're looking at the OpTic picks, there are definitely some stuff in the bottom lane there where they've actually played only marksman for Arrow. Whereas Turtle is definitely branching out. You know, he's always been a kind of a fill player, so he's playing a lot more of the mages and kind of embracing the new meta more. But I think if you're FlyQuest, you target the marksman and put arrow on something else, because it doesn't seem like OpTic have, you know, kind of embraced the changes in the bottom lane.
It is interesting to see which teams are kind of choosing to do what. Some teams are just taking the path they know better and kind of refining that. OpTic are cool that they have some refinement. That man on your screen, PowerOfEvil, certainly plays a lot of champions that not all mid laners play. But certainly fun to see. I think Fly have been versatile, just maybe trying to stitch a few more things together and find a bit more consistency. But we'll find out what happens in the draft as the 2 bans are already through. Nocturne on OpTic's side on the red, and FlyQuest with the on ban there over on the blue, and Ziggs already taken away from PoE.
Yeah, Nocturne has just shot up in the jungle power rankings here. Everyone loving how quick you can snowball with this champion, use the ultimate, and go all in. So it has definitely surfaced as not only ban phase here, but a lot of first picks as well. There's the Ziggs that they mentioned on the analyst desk from PowerOfEvil that OpTic have also been running.
And Kai'Sa being one of the strongest champions in a variety of different positions, obviously. Kind of marksman in the bot lane as a carry, you can go there too, but a lot of strong funnels have also given rise to Kai'Sa in the mid lane with Smite, or I guess depending on where you want to classify that. We won't get into that today, Kobe. As FlyQuest with their final ban of this phase, it's going to be Victor, so kind of targeting PoE's champs that he showed in week 1.
Yeah, and Arrow actually very happy here. You know, PowerOfEvil's taking the hits in Champion Select with his kind of unique champions that he has already pulled out. And so that is going to leave plenty of marksmen there for OpTic to pick up for Arrow. And they're the only ones having banned out the Kai'Sa themselves, because you don't want to give that up as first pick. Kai'Sa, to me, just scales so incredibly well. And like you're kind of alluding to, you can use her in so many different places. You don't have to play like a super quote-unquote Kai'Sa. You can, you know, flex her around as well. And they're not going to let that one go through. However, very quick grab here for the Lucian for WILDTURTLE, stealing one of them away.
Presumably Turtle can be moved around, but I think he's the one you expect to play on this roster. Aurelia also taken away by OpTic, so sticking just to more of the strong champs on the patch. Again, despite all the versatility, there are still some champions that stick out as very powerful. That one also not bad. Akaadian's had a few plays on it already, and looks like he will take Zhao once again.
Yeah, Zhao definitely early game jungle, definitely has a lot of presence. You can go for the Scuttle Crabs, contest pretty much anybody in the river, as long as you have a little bit of information. And I like that the first pick here for Lucian for FlyQuest still does have some of that versatility you're talking about, right? Lucian is a very strong early lane, and you can pair him with something like Braum in the bottom lane, or you can flex Braum to a mid lane and have him do one of the, you know, hold mid farm for a different champion to try and put a lot more resources onto. Looks like the, you know, the quick pickup here of Taliyah for Keane, who has been one of the guys that actually was on the forefront, one of the ones that was starting the jungle Taliyah movement in solo queue when he was placed in jungle and had to fill roles. So that's also a flex pick. He could play mid lane. They could still move it around to jungle.
Yep. If I recall correctly, she was touched a little on patch 8.12, so she's a little less strong in kind of those early fights versus champions, but strong picks for FlyQuest as they pick up Braum, Taliyah to go with the Lucian, and Rakan already locked in to join the Ezreal that they've picked up presumably for Arrow, but even PowerOfEvil has played AP Ezreal recently in mid as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of useless, I think, even in any of the games in first 3 picks of like trying to pin down where they're going. And so you have to look at really the overall team composition and what they're trying to accomplish. Now, the Rakan does significantly improve your hard engage. Rakan plus Zhao is a really strong combo. And even though they're fairly flimsy champions, they can rely on their ultimates and the crowd control as well as the damage denial from Zhao to kind of create one of those pseudo front lines and a couple of openings there if you do find yourselves trying to go for those hard engaged team fights.
Well, it seems like just strong champions being taken out in phase 2. Lulu on the FlyQuest side and Aatrox there on the OpTic side. About 10 seconds to lock in this last ban, and they will get, of course, first pick out of this phase, so we'll kind of see where they want to be going with the 3 champions they've already picked.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like we have any champions that would be willing to go the top lane yet, so that's why we're seeing the Aatrox and a little bit more of the top lane focus here. But also Zoe, extremely strong on this patch. Doesn't look like OpTic want to give this over as well.
Yep, just a lot of solo laners more than anything else being taken away. FlyQuest now with the last ban of this draft. Looks Hashtag Saints doing a lot of talking with his players, just making sure they have kind of the next few picks mapped out, as Syndra will be taken off the board and away from PowerOfEvil.
Yeah, definitely one of his powerful picks. Now, OpTic could still save counter pick till the very last pick here for themselves and for PowerOfEvil, and they could reveal something like Mundo in the top lane, which you're not super scared about getting, you know, hard counter pick. There's already some magic damage on, and like I said before, FlyQuest have had a very hard time dealing with this champion. They already have 2 losses to it. And there you go. I really like that lock-in. So OpTic also have been doing their own research.
Yeah, again, one of the strongest top laners. Allorim will be back in the lineup here for this game. Played on yesterday. They're going to revisit another tank here as Shen locked in for FlyQuest, presumably for Flame, but we'll know a bit more once they lock in their final pick. And even then, we may not know. That's kind of been the fun of a lot of these champ selects.
Yeah, I mean, with the Shen, a lot of them have been played bottom lane. So it makes you start to think that maybe the Braum, you know, could be in the mid lane there, especially if they lock in a definite, well, not definite because, you know, FLICKR did play Darius in the bottom lane as well. So still a little bit of flexibility here is trying to move these around. But we have definitely seen, you know, Darius into Mundo, trying to control that one early.
Yeah, kind of curious, but we'll see where FlyQuest do end up. OpTic with 10 seconds left to make this final pickup. Looks like they're playing pretty straightforward, and PowerOfEvil is going to get a counter pick here. Orianna would be a very traditional mid laner, and not going to be locked in as they'll swap it around just a bit. Still have a bit of time.
Do it!
Talon
Yes!
locked in for OpTic.
Talon is a terror in solo queue right now. You know, Assassins definitely always have a bit more success in solo queue than they do in competitive play. But the reason why we're kind of thinking that Talon would make his way into the North American LCS and into more pro play is because he does actually have a lot of options as far as soon as you get a Tiamat, you try and just annihilate the minion wave and roam as quickly as possible and as early as possible. Premier roaming champion here from the mid lane. If they do keep it like this and keep PowerOfEvil on it, then you really have to worry about the early snowball, because this champion can go all in as early as level 3. He can go for tower dives very effectively, and then you just jump over the wall out of tower range, especially when paired with that ignite and the bleed damage from his passive. Junglers really have to beware when they're even venturing around that mid lane, because I've seen so many of them get caught off guard and bursted down, giving some early gold over to a Talon, which really does fuel that roam.
Well, it might be hard to figure out which person is the jungler getting killed this game, Kobe. OpTic's kind of done their work for us. It's very straightforward comp, but even though the players are playing the champions that you saw when they were drafted after the swaps, of course, because players cannot swap after 20 seconds, WILDTURTLE has Smite and Santorin has Exhaust. Traditionally, he's the jungler for the team, and he has played the role competitive for quite a while. So my guess, based on this setup, is we usually see the mid Smite getting farm funneled into by a supportive jungler player. Contract said this yesterday, if you saw that game on Braum. So definitely a different kind of strategy here for FlyQuest.
Yeah, as we've seen, even just last night, FLICKR played the Taliyah in the bottom lane, and that's where I'm expecting Keane to go. So you would expect WILDTURTLE, as you're saying, to play the jungle / mid lane role, where you get all of the mid lane minions that you can grab, as well as a jungle camp in between waves, put on this champion as early as possible. And WILDTURTLE is a great choice for this team to try and funnel so much money into. This guy was basically the player that the entire team was built around when they first created this team last split. So we'll see if Santorin is able to guide him through this process, because it is a little bit more tricky than people give it credit for, right? It's all about timings and trying to pick up as much gold as quickly as possible. So usually you're going to want to start on a buff and then immediately get to the lane to shove the lane back and give yourself an opening to go for one of the 2 Scuttle Crabs plus another buff, and then allow you time to get back for a cannon wave, which will be timing in just about as you finish the second buff as well as Scuttle.
Well, late invade here actually for the trio. There's Flame, Santorin, and Turtle all looking, but Allorim does spot them out. Still, that will be red buff taken away here by FlyQuest. So going to start off with an invade. It should split the map right down the middle vertically, but we'll see where Akaadian chooses to go as he's getting a lead from his bot lane.
Yeah, got to stay proactive here when you're doing a funnel versus a team that is not doing, you know, like a super champion strategy here. And starting off with the invade buff is, ooh, they're actually going to try and take down the big raptor as well. Because Talon, not hard shoving, not kind of pressuring that timing. I do think, though, that OpTic with a Talon and Shen Zhao are set up with the tools to try and punish this. Because some of the clear weaknesses that we've seen emerge with these strategies, where you have basically two supports on your team there, Santorin playing the Braum and trying to give as much money over to WILDTURTLE, is that you aren't going to have as much wave clear and you aren't going to have as much playmaking early on in the game. So it's up to a Shen Zhao and a Talon to try and make them pay elsewhere on the map. Keep up the pressure. It really is all about not letting up on any of that pressure early on in the game. Red buff, don't worry.
Yep.
It is going to continue. That is able to execute the Scuttle Crab there for them.
Yeah, managed to take it away. As you can see him on your screen. Do not forget the rivalry in the bot lane. Kwon versus Big. You can vote by spamming the chat for either Kwon or Big. Right now, Team Big seems to be ahead, but you never know. The harder you spam, the better it goes. Trust me, that's how it works.
Definitely true. So as you can see, what we were talking about, you can see on the mini map, Santorin and WILDTURTLE were about to soft push and then go for the buff, but PowerOfEvil was keeping it right in front of the turret, so they had to actually come back to the lane, push it all the way into the turret, and every time you lose a little bit of time like that in transition, it definitely is meaningful, but the stun!
Yeah, Turtle with a good bit of damage, gonna force the flash out of PoE.
Got to be super careful. You know, Braum, that's one of the reasons why he's so popular as the supportive champion in the little you know, second support strategies that we've been seeing emerge, is because of so much crowd control can come out from him. You really can't play so aggressively or lackadaisically around him, as Turtle puts on display there, double tap, able to easily proc the stun, and they got, you know, Summoner Spell out of PowerOfEvil early.
Yeah, he's flying through the jungle right now. You saw in that little trade that forced the flash, he was level 423, so Turtle picking up the farm, picking up the experience, and looks like so far in the early game it isn't working out for Fly. In the top side real quick though, Flame vs Allorim, haven't seen too much of this, but Mundo is just going to be trying to farm this out. Flame, we'll see if he can find a bit more traction and play a touch more aggressively, but so far it's nice and even in this 1v1.
Yeah, even Darius, like Darius, one of the terrors of top lane 1 versus 1 matchups. Mundo is able to sit back, throw briefcases, farm easily for himself, and not put himself in too much danger early on, and try and scale up into later into the game till he does have a lot more tank stats, able to use the ultimate and truly go where he pleases. But again, we have a lot of focus on the jungler. Whenever you're facing a strategy like trying to put all this money on WILDTURTLE, if the opponent jungler, Shen Zhao, Akaadian in this case, only farms their jungle, and you kind of just go even and have kind of a slow pace early on, that is exactly what the team with the Braum Lucian are looking for. No pressure elsewhere, no forced movement really. So we're definitely gonna be looking at Akaadian after his first back. He's got some boots for himself, as well as the red smite, and he's definitely ready to try and create some sort of play.
Potential pressure here from OpTic is big. Is roaming towards the mid lane, but was spotted by a FlyQuest ward, and Turtle's just gonna leave after getting that next lane push. There are some, I guess, minion losses there in the bot side. Keane a little bit behind so far. And OpTic, I think, now are finally trying to get a bit more aggressive as they move things around. But PoE has to be pretty careful, although Big was behind him.
Yeah, the double boots pick up there for both of them. They're able to get in, but Akaadian
now going to tag him, forcing the flash away. Winter's Bite barely misses him.
Yep, PowerOfEvil went back to the mid lane for the minions, and Akaadian left by himself in the river means that FlyQuest will be able to secure this Scuttle Crab, but they also are zoned very far away from the minions in mid lane, which is going to mean they lose out on the cannon, as well as giving an opening for a roam bottom lane here. PowerOfEvil and Akaadian trying to remain proactive, but very difficult as it has been communicated by FlyQuest, and they're definitely keeping their bottom lane aware as well of the possible movements here.
And I think it's funny, you mentioned Talon, of course, such a premier roaming champion that can apply all this pressure, but when you have two people pushing a lane, it can be tough. As a flick back from Keane is amazing. The flash is good, the ignite is down. Kwon! He gets it! First blood onto Big, but now Arrow and Akaadian down here. He's going to try and pick up an exit kill. Kwon, we're going to get out of there as Keane throws the rocks back through. Akaadian also kind of low, and they can't get a kill back.
Even though Kwon's got a different laning partner down here, with Keane coming to join him, he gets first blood on Big with the Ignite timing in there under the turret. And that is such a huge play for FlyQuest.
Oh, Flame is looking for a Dunkaroonie! Doesn't quite grab it. The ult from Allorim was barely time to save himself. Forced to flash as well, though, as the FlyQuest pressure is mounting.
Yeah, this is very, very bad for OpTic. If the side lanes, both side lanes, pushing in and gaining pressure for them, opens up a lot of freedom for WILDTURTLE and Santorin to power farm both the mid lane and jungle. And it is all just about Kwon setting it up here with the taunt. Keane immediately can follow with the seismic shove. The Ignite damage was able to finish him off in the end. And even though Akaadian heads down the river, Kwon, after the kill, is level 5. And he's able to fight off Akaadian, no problem there on the Shen. That means that Kwon is also going to be able to get access to his ultimate, stand united very early, and pressure the rest of the map, thus also protecting the other carry there, WILDTURTLE, who has actually rushed the jungle item and has a very early power spike here on the warrior.
Yep. Skirmisher Saber plus the enchantment already completed. So we'll see just how aggressive Turtle feels like getting right now. Keane trying to push these minions back, but should be okay with Kwon returning to the lane.
Now, Warrior is one of the most gold efficient sources of attack damage and cooldown reduction in the entire game. They put a lot more efficiency in the jungle item combines. Was the whole point of making junglers go for those starting items that didn't really give a lot of combat stuff early, but definitely pays off later. And now he's on this spike. Cooldown reduction goes a long way with Lucian to be able to get off more of those passives. Kwon here, you can see everyone voting along with that first blood, and he's gaining momentum in the big rivalry.
Yep, so far, so good. The first step in the campaign looking good for Team Kwon as he did pick it up with that Ignite. As far as some early purchases go, you mentioned the Tiamat for PowerOfEvil. We'll see if that can help him alleviate all of that 2v1 pressure he has been feeling between Turtle and Santorin, and Flame with the very early Executioner's Calling, trying to alleviate some of Mundo's healing, but Allorim getting pretty tanky with the early parts of Sunfire.
Yeah, you definitely have to have some grievous wounds on your team when you're facing Dr. Mundo, especially with the buffs to the ultimate as you rank it up. I definitely would also think that Keane from the bottom lane there would get an early Morella Nomicon. I just think that Morella Nomicon is such an efficient way of applying grievous wounds because you don't have to give up any efficiency or weirdness in your build in order to get it. It gives flat spell pen, which is great for Taliyah anyway and wants to do a lot of damage. So eventually, maybe second item after the Lost Chapter item, he would look to go for that, as it definitely is some extra healing that he would want to reduce. Top side, though, Turtle and Santorin might be going offensive here with a dive onto Allorim.
Yeah, Turtle's level 8 is matching Allorim right now, so they are going to start things off. No ult here for the Braum, but they just need a tag exhaust down, so they're going to start taking it off, and Allorim's just absolutely dead. Turtle claims a kill.
Yeah, with the grievous wounds and that early with 3 people, popping your ultimate kind of just makes you lose 4 life, and they immediately burn him down. They're trying to finish the tower as well. Minions taken out, but they should be able to get it.
Yep, Flame taking a couple more hits, but they do get the turret, pick up the bonus gold, and win the race to first turret. Akaadian tried to make his way down here to get the turret first, but FlyQuest just ahead on that play.
Yeah, definitely. FlyQuest very happy with the way that the early game has gone. OpTic will be able to answer on bottom side with a turret of their own, but they're so far behind in the tempo of this game. FlyQuest are going to give them a very rough time in trying to catch up, because Lucian, as their choice for an early power spiking champion here from the mid lane, especially with going the jungle item, WILDTURTLE is already combat ready and very effective, so FlyQuest don't have to wait around for some scaling, like if they had Kai'Sa or something and they were trying to get Rage Blade on their mid lane champion. They can just try and end early here. This is a very early spiking version of the funneling composition.
Yeah, stacked up a ton of gold as well. He's got almost 2,000 as he's looking to go back to base pretty soon, I think, and go and spend it. And I know you love Blade of the Ruin King Kobe ever since we got 200 gold off the cost.
It's so cheap, my friend.
Well, so far as Ninja Tabi and 2 longswords, so that could be just about anything as OpTic going to try and trade back and get this Drake here.
Yeah. All right, Ocean Drake is very powerful as far as the early game here, especially for OpTic, so they'll be very happy to get this one up. And again, they're still looking to kind of get this Talon his first kill and trying to get him to the point where he'll be able to assassinate one of these carries.
Well, Kwon looking for round 2, but the rest of OpTic are going to move forward. That's big with a big combo of Akaadian. Already low in the front of it. Kwon has to take the rest of the damage, and Akaadian is going to pick up the kill. OpTic here first to the play in Turtle. He's the one with all the gold. He needs to stay safe as Keane cuts off the escape route with a wall.
Ooh, OpTic do get vengeance for big, and they get the counter kill here onto Kwon. That was without Flame joining because there's no teleport here, though. So he pushes in the top lane, and the kill comes at a small cost of a couple of minions of experience. Here's another look at it, though. Big on the Rakan, going for the play here. Sees him in his eyes, immediately jumps onto Taliyah with the ult flash as well, and Akaadian's able to finish up the chase there onto Kwon because Allorim on the Mundo had roamed down with a little bit of the timing there. They were able to finish that up with the extra man. But again, because the Rift Herald was kind of taken in exchange for that Ocean Drake, FlyQuest are going to be able to push with it, and now with the new and improved Rift Herald charge, no damage was dealt to it, so they might be able to finish off 2.
Yeah, already one turret getting mid out of it. A fight is brewing. The turret is low. They're going to try and finish it off. But looks like OpTic are going to look for the engage. That's a Talon ulti burning it around. They need to take down Turtle. He's low and he is slain by Allorim as Keane is trying to pick up PowerOfEvil, but he holds over a wall, vaulting towards the rest of FlyQuest. Kwon forced to burn the stopwatch, buying time for his teammate. But OpTic, they pick up 2.
Ooh, they caught him with their hands in the cookie jar here.
Ooh, Keane.
Little bit too greedy for FlyQuest on the second turret. And OpTic are going to be able to get a huge punish play here. Tower in mid lane going to go down for themselves, and it's going to allow some more money here with a lot of farm on bottom side going over to PowerOfEvil.
Yep, they were the ones behind it. Now ahead 1,000 gold as we have swapped leads pretty quickly in the first 13.5 minutes. Looks like this wave will crash towards the turret, although Keane is moving down there to collect it. But things are heating up here again. Turtle looking for Blade first. Has the Cutlass now finished as he sweeps out this wave. And our next Drake will be Infernal, so we'll watch this one again.
Yeah, look at how they play out this fight. FlyQuest are all running from PowerOfEvil with the ultimate going. That gives the initiation opportunity here for Big and Akaadian to just run them down. And they finish off the second up kill here. Arrow happy to get that one for the Ezreal, who is slowly moving towards that Trinity Force as well. And the double item power spike of Trinity Force plus conversion of his Muramana is actually approaching fairly quickly.
Well, speaking of that item, Flame has finished his first major item already with T-Force now ready. We'll see if he can bully Allorim, who's going, again, very armor focused, trying to build out for this lane and not get too pressured in his 1v1.
Yeah, and so the Trinity Force is interesting, right? Because people are still a little bit not used to seeing it on the Darius, but it does give you the same movement speed buff that you're able to get if you went with the kind of classic Black Cleaver. However, it also gives you the huge Sheen proc on the squishier targets, and he's going to be looking to kill off the Xin Zhao inside of the Xin Zhao ultimate because he's one of those melee champions, or to try and get some of that early burst damage onto the Talon in the small windows that they do have to try and hit that champion. So there are definitely a lot of squishy targets where the spell passive is going to be able to put out a nice little bit of burst damage and try and chunk those guys down as well, because as soon as you get the kill on Darius, you're so much more powerful.
You can see FlyQuest continuing to apply that pressure. It's 2 turrets apiece with the mid-tier 2, still pretty low for OpTic, but Total currently bot side trying to get that turret at least low. Here we matching right now. That's that Moby boost Tiamat and working into that next item with a bit of lethality already built up. So unfortunately for him, he just hasn't really been able to get out of these lanes in effect like you might have expected from a Talon, but that's credit to FlyQuest and how they've executed kind of these first 15 minutes.
Yeah. Luckily enough for PowerOfEvil, he is now level 11 on the Talon, and his Ignite will be coming back soon. So if he does see someone out of position there, he's going to have to account for the Shen ultimate, but definitely never underestimate that level 2 ult from Talon as soon as he comes in as far as the burst damage goes. And OpTic, next step for them is to try and get more of those control wards down to open up the possibilities of these surprise engages. They have Talon, they have Rakan, definitely have a lot of opportunity to try and jump on someone from FlyQuest. get that burst damage.
Doing a nice job again, keeping vision around the Drake area. A minute until that Infernal Drake is ready to go. OpTic already took the first Drake, so they'll be looking for a second. And again, with a lot of damage deals on both sides, pretty premium on to pick up as well as Turtle and Santorin still doing here down the bot side. But again, Talon a little too threatening, especially with Akaadian potentially being around. So FlyQuest will give them their respect and probably go back and set up for the next objective.
Yeah, OpTic really want to get PowerOfEvil to his completed Duskblade. Actually, he buys it right now. So off of that minion wave, PowerOfEvil able to get the Duskblade, and that is going to give him so much threat on those squishy backline targets. So let's see how that does change the team fight, because this OpTic squad is full steam ahead with the initiation. They're just going to try and run down Keane / WILDTURTLE, and you basically switch targets to whichever one is easier to damage and not getting Shen ulted.
Well, the DPS threats are at least enabled for the next fight. Blade of the Ruined King now finished alongside Warrior for Turtle, and we do have Ludens also completed for Keane. So certainly a big 5v5 on the horizon as Infernal Drake does come up.
All right, teleports are ready for both top laners. Currently, the vision control is in OpTic's favor. So FlyQuest going to have to move in here, try and face check the brush with their squishier frontliners. Remember, in this composition, since Flame is split pushing on top side, Santorin and Kwon, which are basically both supports here, are the ones trying to face check these brush, and just a couple Mystic shots from Arrow and a little bit of damage actually does go a long way, allowing OpTic here an easy route into the Infernal Drake.
Yeah, Fly pushed mid and just kind of gave them the space they needed. So the Drake will go over to OpTic, but Flame is trying to get a trade back, and Fly might even want this turret. They will get it as a result. So bit of a trade there, but OpTic still get their objective.
Yep, and they should be able to meet up here with Flame on the top side for turret number 2. So this is trading some later game scaling there with the percentage increase of the Infernal Drake for 2 turrets right now, and that gold for the entire team. In order to make that work, they're definitely gonna have to, get back and use that gold to try and win the next team fight here. Bottom lane definitely has 2 kind of standing turrets here with the outer still available. So it's probably going to be the next target, since they still have another wave pushing on top side that Allorim's going to have to answer.
Yep, you see Fly are going to move at least Turtle back down there as the rest of the squad do push through mid lane. But that was certainly an opportunity FlyQuest could have opted in for, but maybe feeling that right now they're not strong enough. So I think after getting all that gold and investing so much in a Turtle who's now 200 CS just before the 20-minute mark, there's definitely a point where I think that next objective, FlyQuest are basically like committed to finding a fight and looking to win with the power they've picked up now.
Yep, they're gonna have to try and go for it. And now's when you really start to evaluate though the effectiveness of this type of strategy, right? WILDTURTLE is on a Lucian, he's got a Warrior plus Blade of the Ruined King, which is decently strong. They're at level 2, especially with a red smite, which is very, very valuable against dive comps. If he gets that red smite down on PowerOfEvil on the Talon before the combo comes out, it goes a very long way in reducing that damage and keeping him safe, or, gets it off on Akaadian that's going to be trying to dive him. It definitely should be mentioned that he's got that extra protection. However, if you're looking at the effectiveness of the other half of the duo, and Santorin, this level 9 Braum, who's going to provide some zoning, some crowd control for the team, versus Akaadian on the level 11 Zhao, who can just dive in!
Yeah, going straight in, looking for Kwon or Keane, but Keane does defend. The turret not going to be threatened either. Keane able to move that back away, but good attempt there from OpTic.
Yeah, he gets the flash out of one of the carries. And remember, they're looking at both Keane and WILDTURTLE as the 2 viable dive options here from OpTic's side. Now that Keane doesn't have flash available, he can only rely on his stopwatch that he has in inventory right now if he's the target of PowerOfEvil. And / Akaadian. So that's definitely going to keep them a little bit more honest here. It is definitely worth mentioning that whenever you're running these compositions for FlyQuest, you want to diversify the damage types. So that's why they have the Taliyah in the bottom lane, so they're not so physical damage focused. But if Keane does get taken out, then that's going to go all to waste. PowerOfEvil looking for a flank though, and he has been able to sneak into the red quadrant of the jungle of FlyQuest.
Yeah, he's done a great job with the Duskblade, with his red trinket, sweeping out pretty much all of this vision. on the bot side. So there's still a turret in the way, but FlyQuest are going to stay clumped together as a result. I think they know the PowerOfEvil's nowhere on the map.
Going on him.
Looking for Allorim. By the looks of things, there's the Glacial Fissure going to knock them back up. And PowerOfEvil finding the flank. He's trying to assassinate Turtle. A charm already lands in for Big, and Santorin is going to go down. Keane, he's low, but he's not failed just yet. He stays alive through the ignite. Grabs a double kill. Finally is felled, but Flame comes in for the dunk and takes down Big.
They're still alive here too. Arrow has a red buff, so there's a lot. Oh!
Looking
Threat
for
on WILDTURTLE.
Does get the next Q. Now needs to keep going forward. Turtle pretty strong, but he's going to get out of the way with a blast cone and onto the blue buff.
Yeah, red buff on Ezreal, definitely very, very threatening. And we mentioned that 2-item power spike, Trinity Force, Mana Transformation complete for Arrow. 2 kills now for him, and he has to be respected.
Yeah, we can see Turtle still looking for Black Cleaver as item number 3 as we'll watch this engage again. It was a great flank from PoE.
All right, so they're going to start here on the main tank, on Allorim. He gets the ultimate off. However, Zhao does not have his ult back from the last attempt that they made in mid. So FlyQuest were able to get an early kill onto Zhao, and Keane uses the stopwatch there, but he still barely dies to the ignite. If you had done it maybe a little bit earlier and survived that, it would have been a lot more convincing of a victory for FlyQuest. But because of that extra damage, OpTic were able to get some counter kills and some money back for themselves.
Yeah, and again, even though we've focused a lot on Turtle in this early game, Keane is now also with 2 items, so very much a threat in these engages.
Yeah. Also, Keane, you know, stopwatches are one-time use, so now he doesn't have the stopwatch or the flash to rely upon, so it has to be teammates protecting him here. Shen and Braum going to be doing their best to keep both of those guys upright. Allorim right now on the Mundo, if you look at the mini-map, he's doing some work on the bottom turret while this fight over vision is taking place. So OpTic, they're continuing to do the diligent homework on the side lanes here and getting that extra little bit of damage onto the bottom side, forcing Flame down there, who is at a teleport disadvantage from that last play in the mid lane.
Yeah, he did well to TP in and get a couple of extra kills on that fight, but it does mean that he now has to just kind of catch waves as Allorim pushes them into the side lane. So still the gold very close. FlyQuest up, but by only 1,000 gold. We talked about, again, that next objective point. Turtle finished his Black Cleaver. Drake up in 30 seconds. Again, FlyQuest are going to say, do they want to give OpTic a third Drake? Do they maybe even want to pressure around the Baron? I think FlyQuest know that this is one of their best times to force a fight.
Yeah, right now they're trying to use all of this time to clear out the vision around Baron, trying to get some defensive options for themselves too, so that PowerOfEvil does not find a flank around into the back lines and really put that extra pressure onto the Taliyah. Because it's fairly difficult for FlyQuest to be the ones going super offensive in the fights. They're mostly looking at peel and defensive options here, trying to deal with the OpTic dive. There's not a lot of effectiveness that FlyQuest can get out of trying to dive into the backline and find Arrow on the Ezreal. There are just too many escape options for Arrow, so it makes it a lot more difficult for FlyQuest to be the ones to force it. And they're just trying to control the neutral ground here instead.
All right, Drake goes over to FlyQuest, but 26 health after the smite was what that Drake was left with. So I hope that is not an omen of objectives to come, Kobe.
I mean, Turtle has stolen a lot of neutral objectives during his time on Marksman with, you know, Jinx rockets and stuff like that, but he's smite too much. Still able to get up though, nobody was around, and Arrow not able to snag it away.
With that off the map now, we turn to Baron. 25 minutes through this game, still very close. FlyQuest with a turret lead, but OpTic can even that up pretty quickly after a few pickoffs. And of course, any major fight will give over quite a lot with Baron up for the first time in this game. I guess it's been up for 5 minutes, but neither team has taken it just yet.
I mean, it is kind of a decent point here too, with the changes to Baron and reducing the damage that it does. It's so much less threatening that even early in the game, teams are willing to throw a lot more resources at Baron because the risk isn't quite as high as it has been in the past, even though it has more health now and your time investment might be a little bit more. Especially with the amount of true sight that they do have over it, you can really threaten at any moment, even with just a couple of people, that you are trying to take it.
Well, look at Flame right now. His TP's still 30 seconds away, so he's not able to make a true cross-map play just yet. And you've noticed PoE has been on the other side lane as Allorim's been pressuring down here to the bot side. Has Ignite, of course, not TP, but Talon is extremely fast at getting it around the map. So, ooh, good flick. Akaadian gonna get picked off. just face check through control and is destroyed.
Absolutely bursted from 100 to 0 there by Keane and Kwon. Even with the extra numbers advantage there, OpTic trying to clear wards as a trio. Very good seismic shove from Keane. Catches Akaadian off guard. He's no time for flash, no time for his ultimate, and that's going to give them an opening. 5v4 forced from FlyQuest.
So every time to start Baron, it's now with the jungler dead still for 10 seconds. Santorin caught out though. Forced to flash the wall. PowerOfEvil again looking for a flank. The Baron is low. FlyQuest are going to turn around. They get the taunt, but PoE still jumped over the wall. The Baron reset. FlyQuest, they turn for a kill and they get nothing.
Because of that taunt and the wall there, PowerOfEvil starts pathing up and around to the ramp to try and get to Shen. And so the seismic shove from Keane doesn't hit him. And that buys their time. That stops the Baron. This is huge for OpTic.
And now actually forced away by 3 members of OpTic. Now they actually have time to go back and start the Baron.
I mean, they've got Mundo. He can tank that thing effortlessly. So here they go, starting it up. Shen is back in base, but he's got Stand United ready.
Yep, the rest of FlyQuest stayed on the map, so they're going to try and force something here. No vision just yet, though, for FlyQuest. There's King, gets the wall, tries to trap them in. That's going to stop it from OpTic, with Santorin going to get caught out. Stand United going to try and protect him, but big Lancer knock up PoE. Grabs the kill now. OpTic on a 5v4. Allorim in the front side hits a cleaver onto Keane. Still pretty tanky with the ultimate ticking, but has to be careful. The rest of FlyQuest being corralled. Akaadian tries to leap forward for the kill. PowerOfEvil breaks him down big with a quickness. Going to try and catch the stragglers. OpTic grab a few kills. A knock up on the flame. He's in a 1v5 and he goes down. OpTic grab the ace.
It's a massacre. OpTic find them split out and they pick them off. Easily finished off there for a clean ace. Baron is your reward, and they can very quickly snowball this game now. You're talking about the extra turret differential here. That is so much money that FlyQuest can get with this Baron, not to mention all the 5 kills that they just cashed in.
Yeah, a lot of gold back into OpTic's hands. They're up now 1,000 gold, but Baron can mean so much more as Kwon back out onto the map, trying to get a bit of vision.
Let's review here because Santorin was once again split off from the rest of the team, and he used Flash last time he was split from the rest of the team. So while he's getting focused down and the Shen ultimate is on him, the rest of FlyQuest can't do any damage. They can't even use that time that OpTic are pouring cooldowns into the Braum because they're completely split off. So then it's very easy for OpTic to run them down here on the top side. You see Kwon never even gets to join the team because his Stand United target went down before the channel got to complete there for him.
Yep, not even an ace, because Kwon's like, yeah, I don't fancy any of this. Just walks away.
Yeah.
As OpTic get clean up the rest of his teammates. Still 3 turrets, but again, with the Baron for 2.5 minutes, looking to shove down some of these lanes. OpTic still out on the map. See just how much damage they can get done. Need to manage some of these waves, but PoE going to go top side. Bot lane is pushing for them as well. And of course, Baron, with 4 members of OpTic here, going to make this pretty trivial. Try and move on to the turrets. But
yeah, Talon is a great split pusher there. With Baron buff, you know, I mean, it's so difficult to catch him. He can just jump over any wall, so it's pretty useless to send anyone from FlyQuest over there to try and pick off the one member. And they can't really, as we said before, go for an initiation of their own on this 4-man squad because they're a bit too evasive. So it makes this Baron very easy for OpTic to use to push up both the top lane minions as well as mid lane and get a lot of that extra gold we're talking about.
Yeah, we'll see if FlyQuest can defend effectively, just trying to lose the minimum here as PowerOfEvil is just hanging out with the minions. Looks like OpTic will take the mid tier 2 pretty easily. FlyQuest's going to have to pick their battle somewhere else.
Yep. All that PowerOfEvil has to do on that top side too is continue to apply the Baron buff to his minions on that side. And with the pressure here in mid lane from the rest of OpTic, you can eventually wear down that top turret and get kind of the safer gold there. It's already down to about 30%. Arrow and the rest of the crew are pushing another wave into the mid inhibitor turrets by themselves.
Yep, again, threatening, looks for a flick. Arrow shifts out of the way though. Keane been very accurate with his skill shots, is a well-known Taliyah player despite moving roles for this game.
Again, so hard for FlyQuest in this position to force anything and try and punish anyone that's out of position. They don't have a great hard initiation. You know, Darius, as good as he is in kind of 1v1 isolated things on top side, can't really do much besides like a flash E to try and pull someone in, and without that, it's going to have to be a mistake from OpTic, giving FlyQuest an opening to try and get themselves back into this game. They would hope for something around mid lane here, while PowerOfEvil, it would take him a little bit to join the fight.
Ooh, Allorim actually going to get stunned down. Kwon going to try and drag the refuge back. A great shot from Keane. There's the dump. They go on. They need to chase down onto a carry. Akaadian is going to move forward, but he's got the ult ready as Fly kind of cut off with the wall there as Keane tried to chase.
Well, Kwon! I mean, just Kwon now.
Regular
Takes
Kwon.
it into his own hands. He's able to get the taunt onto Allorim. And the execute here from Darius, where the extra BF sword now as well, adding to Flame's damage. They finish off the Mundo. They put a stop to the siege, but they're still reeling from that last Baron fight and all of the money that went over to OpTic's side. OpTic can just retreat to the field and take up the Drake for themselves.
Yep. Only got a couple of turrets to even that score. 3,500 gold up and an Ocean Drake. At the back end of that Baron power play. We'll see exactly how much they got in a second, but for now, let's watch this engage.
All right, Kwon just slowly walks up, able to get it. Actually, I want to see that replay again, because it didn't look like that one was too close for the taunt landing.
I think he got Braumed.
Might have been, yeah, Braum stun instead, able to finish off the passive procs then, because Allorim standing still. Yeah, there you go. Bomb passive was finished off there by a WILDTURTLE. That was what they were able to use to set him up, even with Kwon actually missing the taunt on the stun target. A little bit of a different story upon review.
Skill shots are tough sometimes. Instead, FlyQuest put together their two-man point-and-click stun and do manage to take down the front liner again with the early morales from Keane, with that very early executioners there from Flame that he's had since, I think, before he even finished his Trinity Force. Certainly able to cut through a lot of that healing from Mundo and take him down, but OpTic, again, it feels like in these fights, they're the ones with so much initiative, and FlyQuest's window may have closed when they really powered up the Lucian.
Honestly, though, I am now all eyes towards Flame. Like, Flame wants to carry this game. He is going full-on DPS Darius here. He has so much damage. If he's able to get the passive proc, like, it gives you tons of attack damage on top of this Sterix-empowered Trinity Force. The Darius himself, if he starts resetting with the ultimate, can definitely rack up the kills. And we did see how quickly FlyQuest were able to kill even Allorim, the Mundo here on the front line, if he gets caught up and isolated. So as much as OpTic can celebrate their win around Baron and how much they were able to get off those 4 kills in the last couple of minutes here, FlyQuest still, with this amount of damage, have the possibilities to punish those mistakes. And you can't give another opportunity like they just did without FlyQuest surging back into this game. So definitely keep an eye there on the Darius. Flame doesn't have flash or anything to go for the super crazy resets, but definitely is possible here.
Just dreaming of a reset after reset here, I think, on the Darius. Also level 17, so he's ready to go as far as the team fight goes, but Fly gonna struggle to find key targets quickly, given how their comp is lining up. And Baron is back up in 50 seconds as well, with the Elder Dragon also available for both teams. OpTic with 3 Drakes, including an Infernal. Be happy to take that off the map. So the pressure certainly for OpTic here as FlyQuest are forced back towards their base, but pretty soon we'll have another opportunity for a fight. We'll see if FlyQuest can either split the map or just find something between their 2 supports, or maybe Flames E.
Yeah, I mean,
something started.
Keane is a seasoned Taliyah player, and there's a possibility they wall someone off in a bad spot. I mean, not a possibility if you wall out Talon. You can just jump over it, but you know, one of the other melees, probably Zhao is probably their best target for a pickoff. You know, as we saw earlier in the river, if Akaadian is a little bit too far forward, then that would be the ideal target, because Zhen is one of the only champions here that doesn't really have a lot of escape options and is fairly squishy. Should be easy for them to burst down this Baron, though, as they group up around it. Plenty of vision control here for OpTic.
Yeah, it feels like Fly kind of using their comp to split the map as much as possible, but because of what OpTic did with their last Baron, it's a little tough. FlyQuest, though, now kind of out onto the map, will finally get a turn back on the left side river to try and clear out some of this Baron vision.
Ooh,
Turtle going in. That's a total classic. Santorin let the ulti rip, get the double knock over PowerOfEvil. Looking to go in. They're going to save the ult for now as Big goes back through, and Turtle is actually dead to arrow. Looks like OpTic completely turned the fight around already in a 4v5 with 1 carry down as Flame resurrects in the front line. He's going to be left for dead by the rest of his teammates, and OpTic collect 2 kills.
Yep, they're not scared of it that time. Allorim just pops the ult. They're able to defend Mundo and turn on WILDTURTLE. no flash used, and they're able to burn him down so quickly here. Now, it actually should be a push inhibitor at the very least, and then maybe a retreat to the Baron. But yeah, PowerOfEvil was very ready to come in there with the flank on the opposite side there, even though FlyQuest trying to force something in mid lane. Actually, they're just going to go for the end here.
Keane says no.
Puts a stop to the minion wave for now.
Ooh, actually gets Allorim over the wall. Might be able to tag him for enough damage, but still, the turret's now vulnerable. PowerOfEvil just buying time. He goes over the Nexus for a flip, but he's going to get taunted up by Kwon. Keane, though, dead to arrow as OpTic still surviving.
Turtle's back up here for FlyQuest, though, so they should be able to run them out of the base.
Turtle gonna try and get a couple kills. This could be big, actually, if OpTic lose too many. Culling is out. Turtle flashes. Oh! He wants arrow, but he can't find him. The stasis might get arrow killed. The taunt is missed time, but Turtle still gets a shutdown.
Teleport's coming in to cut off the rest of the low health members, too. They're going for the reset.
Flamey's got ulti. He can see every single kill. Looking for the execute flash. Bam, that's the dump. Looking for the Nexus big. He's gonna be lined up, but he charms to try and buy time for his team. Still, FlyQuest straight to Baron.
Oh, the greed here from OpTic is going to cost them big. 1,000 here as the Baron is about to go down for FlyQuest. Oh my goodness. They go for the end. Keane on the Taliyah is able to wall them off, stall, and then get the seismic shove to kind of push OpTic into diving Nexus turrets. And we're still rolling, baby.
PowerOfEvil literally flipped over the Nexus, trying to get a couple kills. OpTic, I think, a little too far forward in that. Oh, hello. What do you have planned now?
All right, it's classic, just wait in the brush here, wait for someone to come by themselves, and hope it's someone that he can burst down. There are a lot of decent targets from FlyQuest that if they're by themselves and they venture over, oh, we're going to look through the jungle for our red buff or something like that. To go for it, but I don't think anyone's got a reason to go past this PowerOfEvil bush.
Elder Dragon also up now, so FlyQuest recognizing that, feel like they have to go over, but there's two flank positions here as big. He's going to get spotted now. The Scry Swoon actually does find PoE, a very critical plant use there by
They're separated, but they're very mobile.
All right, couple jumps here. PoE's out big, dashes over a wall. He's out as well now, regrouping with his team. The Elder Dragon going to get started by FlyQuest. They'll at least make it angry.
All right, here we go. This is going to definitely force the fight. Look for Allorim to try and soak as many of those CC cooldowns as he can. Actually, nice wall from Keane.
Keane's wall timing again, pretty solid, but it's not going to last long enough to take this Drake uncontested. Now OpTic move forward. Drake is low, resets.
PoE's trying to flank around the backside here, you can see, but Flame is trying to, force him off here with the screen on the tri-brush.
All right, Turtle versus Akaadian. Who's going to get the Drake? It's kind of a 50-50, a Turtle! He's able to get the Elder Dragon!
Outsmited by the marksman here. Turtle's able to finish it off. They just go for the straight 50.
PoE! He dove on the flag. What are you doing? He goes over a wall. He's trying to buy time, but he's just about to get stunned up. Gets over the wall, but the jump is so short. Ulti from Santorin finds him in PowerOfEvil. He's shut down.
Oh my goodness, and just in time, the super minions were now just heading into FlyQuest base. They've got the Elder Dragon buff to try and clean them out. Let's take another look here, though, because they literally just go for the 50-50. Akaadian charges in, tries to ult, go for the smite, but the burst damage better coordinated here from FlyQuest with WILDTURTLE. And as you said, PoE throwing kind of a Hail Mary there. He was looking for a way to kind of stall out this Elder Dragon if he finds someone by themselves to try and take down, but not only was Flame not an ideal target, but he also had a bunch of buddies around him.
Well, it looks like Akaadian just lost his GA, about to lose his life as well. Kwon able to get his second kill of the game. And FlyQuest now with 55 seconds still left on Baron, going to try and get at least an inhib here.
Yeah, they've got Baron and Elder Dragon. And we've kind of been in this state before where we're like, all right, this one is about to have Nexus turrets falling, but this one really looks like FlyQuest are here in the base to stay.
It's 35 seconds left on Akaadian. They're going to try and play the 4v5. Keane, another good wall. They find Allorim, but PowerOfEvil gets exhausted. Santorin trying to find him. The damage is good, but Keane is going to get protected by Kwon. Arrow trying to find a kill, but I think Fly are just too well clumped together. Tara 1's going to fall. PowerOfEvil throwing the rakes into the backline, trying to find a few kills, but the ult out. The Fissure is good. The Nexus now explodes, and FlyQuest, they're trying to find their first win. They'll take it down. Turtle gets the last hit on the Nexus, and FlyQuest find their victory.
What a game! What a game here from FlyQuest and OpTic. Back and forth. We went from Nexus to Nexus, my friend. Woo. And in the end, FlyQuest come out on top, finding their first victory here in summer.
And that's going to be a fun one to have a look at, because FlyQuest doing what Mark Z said they shouldn't do, go for the funnel strat. There is a roller coaster ride in the last 15 to 20 minutes of that game. It is FlyQuest that find their first win of the season.
Definitely an emotional roller coaster there for fans on both sides. As in the late game, Turtle, he dashes forward on the Lucian right to deal damage on the Mundo, gets immediately annihilated, and that opens kind of the window for OpTic to try and rush through the entire base, but then they overstay. Keane delays them. They try and dive and get completely obliterated for it, allowing the FlyQuest comeback. All is planned, my friend.
Yeah, and I think it's so interesting because that whenever you have this kind of like super strat, you're expecting the person like getting all the resources to be the one that carries their responsibility. And for Turtle, he had a decent game, but I think Keane deserves so much credit. The amount of damage he did in that game, the walls he had to save so many different offensive and defensive situations.
Yeah.
Even though he's moved roles, certainly very competent on the champion.
Also, Santorin there playing the Braum. He got a lot of stuns down. His ultimate, he was able to hit the last little bit of it there onto PowerOfEvil. So good support play from the junglers.
I respect any jungler in a Nocturne Graves Zhao meta who is willing to play Braum. That's all I'll say, because that is a big ask of a lot of these aggressive junglers. Be like, hey man, you know what you should play instead of that Graves this game? You should play Braum with Exalt.
Yeah, we are seeing it become more and more commonplace, right? A lot of the bottom lane players have been complaining about, it's too different to be able to play mages in the bottom lane. I only want to play marksman. Yet junglers are over here. Yeah, we're playing assassins or playing tanks.
They got a tough life.
Playing Braum.
Everyone blames the jungler. You have to play support now.
It's
terrible. It's a tough time. It's certainly a tough time.
Versatility is definitely the key stat that you want to be pumping in this meta right now, though. As we've seen teams just trying to work out the right configuration for them. Whether it is having your mid laner play in the bottom lane temporarily while you allow, marksmen or someone else to go mid, and get them to a comfortable game state later in the game.
Well, we've had more than enough fun, so to hear more from Rivalry Sunday's contenders, let's turn it on to Ovely for an interview.
Thanks, guys. I am here with Big and Kwon. Kwon, congratulations on that win, but more importantly, how good does it feel to take down your rival Big here today?
It feels pretty good. Yeah, but I also got solo kill on Big, so yeah, I feel pretty good.
Now, you did get a solo kill, and it was first blood. So, Big, what was going through your head at that moment?
I don't admit it.
He doesn't accept it.
Right.
But this was actually FlyQuest's first win to a bit of a rough start. So what was taking FlyQuest so long to kind of get into the groove of things?
To be honest, we're still struggling a lot. We still make a lot of mistakes. This game was really long, and we made a lot of mistakes too. So, we're still trying to get together as a team. And yeah, at least for this game, I think we're the better team, so we won the game.
Have you guys been able to pinpoint any issue, or what would you say is your biggest obstacle right now?
I think biggest problem is getting the team together on the same page, because we still struggle a lot with that. It's sometimes on the one side of the map, people die, and the other side is we gotta do something, and we gotta struggle a lot. So yeah, we're trying to fix a lot of team stuff, mainly communication, I think. So if we can get those down, I think yeah, we can definitely make playoff and go from there. Yeah.
Well, Big, I'm coming back to you because after today, the game that's on everyone's mind, Week 7, Day 1, August 4th, it's the rematch between you two. How excited are you looking forward to that, and how are you going to prepare to take Kwon down?
1-1, boys.
1-1. Well, guys, thank you so much, and congratulations again on your win. And for more on the game, let's hear from the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Thank you very much, Ovely.
I don't.
While Mark celebrates his victory, Kwon can too in our first Rivalry Sunday. Not only does he get first blood in the bot lane, he also gets the win for the team. The first victory for FlyQuest, moving to 1-3. And Mark, they did it in just the way you didn't want them to.
Yeah, as it was result, it wasn't very easy. Great first blood by Kwon, just absolutely asserting his dominance over the inferior Big, gets the first blood, and should have carried his team to victory, but team too heavy.
Team too heavy. They did get the win.
Check this out.
It just wasn't easy. I love it.
It's actually why the Shen Taliyah bottom lane is so good, because you land the taunt and it's basically enough damage to kill.
Yeah.
Plus, it's a great flex pick if they try and block your stuff. Would expect nothing less from such a storied rivalry.
From the likes of Kwon in the bot lane. But I want to take a look at the draft because it was a part of your win condition for FlyQuest not to run the funnel strategy, Mark. They do opt for it. Lucian and WILDTURTLE piloting that champion in the mid lane.
It was a very different look on that, though, because most of the time you see it with a Kai'Sa or some hyper-scaling champion, and Lucian Braum is a dominant bot lane, and you just put it in the mid lane, and especially when the enemy team picks a Talon into it, who's going to get abused pretty hard early on in terms of just the straight matchup, that gave them a bigger early-game power spike than I'm used to seeing out of funneling comps. A lot of funneling comps are your mid-jungle doesn't do anything but sit mid lane and try and farm, while hopefully your side lanes are strong enough to not need jungler attention.
And you're looking for like 3-4 items, you know, to really turn on. In this case, it's much earlier.
Power spikes basically from level 1 on, and you saw them getting flashes out of PowerOfEvil, flashes out of Akaadian, and that was a very different look on it for me, and that's why I thought, you know, despite me saying don't funnel, this was a pretty good look at it.
Yeah, much different as far as, like, when I see the talent pick against this, initially you think that makes a lot of sense because you pick a roaming mid laner against an enemy mid laner who's going to be spending a lot of time in the jungle. But the farm numbers, as Mark mentioned, were low for WILDTURTLE, so it ended up actually slowing PowerOfEvil down in the early game. But once that passed, it was pretty much just 2 supports, 2 carries versus another team that's fairly similar.
And that's because WILDTURTLE was opting to spend more time in lane keeping PowerOfEvil down than boosting his own CS numbers and gold values by returning to the jungle every so often?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Turtle had a much more lane-focused approach to this funnel strategy, and there were a lot of mistakes in this game that made it not really shape up according to the draft. Like here, Turtle walked so far forward. He's in front of his team, trying to get the last auto attack on the turret. They just never should have been in that position, and Turtle, as a result, gets popped early on by some great positioning by PowerOfEvil, and it's at least this long chase down sequence that not only gives them 2 kills, but gets the first turret as well.
Yeah, and I felt that was a point in the game where FlyQuest had a big opportunity to take control. Because I think if they're properly positioned in that team fight and OpTic engages on them, they were stronger at that point because WILDTURTLE had hit his item power spikes and PowerOfEvil had not. But they didn't do that, and this was a very topsy-turvy game.
Yeah, missed positions mean lost team fights there for FlyQuest, but of course they did ultimately strike back. I want to take a look at another team fight, though. This one in favor of OpTic in the top lane, 4-0.
Yeah, mispositioning is continuing to be a problem for FlyQuest here. Santorin breaks completely away from his team against a team with an assassin. If he just retreated with Flame, who he was right next to a couple seconds ago, they can probably disengage from this pretty cleanly, and Shen can ult in to join. But because Santorin split, he gets all in, dies before the Shen ult comes through, and now it's a 3v5 split up to the top side.
Yeah, this is where it looked like OpTic probably should have won the game. Yeah. This was the second time they saw a misposition from FlyQuest and instantly punished it, got a number of kills, and then were able to secure Baron. So really good job by them here. However, that call towards the end of the game.
The overstay in the base.
I mean, look at that gold graph.
They got the kills, and right at 35 minutes there, it was a free Baron. Yes. After the inhibitor if they wanted to.
Right.
But instead they go for the end, they don't get it, they lose kills, they give up Baron, they throw the game.
Right.
In all actuality, and OpTic is going to be kicking themselves for that one.
And that's a big reason why I didn't want FlyQuest to go late, is because I thought OpTic would be the better late game team, and so even if you have a funnel strat, like I thought OpTic would outperform them, and they kind of did. As you saw the gold graph swing heavily in their favor, they just made a horrible call to try and end the game instead of take that mid inhibitor, take the Baron, and continue to snowball the game.
Save for the one call. Yeah, Jad, I want to get your thoughts on funneling in general because we were talking a bit about this off camera. Where have you landed now that we're 4 days into the NALCS watching these comps take place?
I'm starting to think that it is probably the optimal way to play. It depends, because it's more flexible than at first I thought. At first I thought, okay, you're only going to be able to do Terrakey. You're only going to be able to do Nukarthus. But really, it's just putting 2 supports on the map and then getting one person more farmed than anyone else. And even the funnel strategy we saw here, where the Lucian was actually mostly denying lane, and they were still picking up a decent amount of gold in the jungle. When the game was relatively even in gold, you were only about 1,200 gold down on Santorin versus Akaadian from the jungler spot, but you had a 2,000 or 3,000 gold on the Lucian because of all the jungle camps. And as long as teams aren't losing too much pressure in the bottom lane or the top lane with the right roamers and the right combinations, I think there's a lot more exploration that needs to happen, but I'm starting to think it's better.
You're warming to the idea. Unfortunately, we got to head to break, so I'm not going to let you jump in just yet on this one, Mark. As we go to break, we'd like to extend a thank you to you, the viewers, for helping the Riot Games Twitch channel be the first one to surpass 1 billion views. Mark did it. We couldn't have done it without your loyal support. When we come back, though, it's Cloud9 and 100 Thieves duking it out for Game 2.
I'm glad it happened on Rivalry Sunday.
Right? Yeah. Rivalry Sunday. Very good.
We need two people pushing the lane. It can be tough. The flick back from Keane is amazing. The flash is good. The ignite is down. Kwon! He gets it! Keane, his low, but he's not failed just yet. He stays alive through the ignite. Grabs the double kill. Finally is felled. But Flame comes in for the dunk and takes down big.
Lucian is our focus, guys. Lucian! I'm at Darius. Darius! Help out. Don't get fucking die here. Don't die.
Good job. Just buying time. He goes over the Nexus for a flip, but he's going to get taunted up by Kwon. Keane, though, dead to arrow as OpTic still surviving.
Oh my god. Welcome to Assist of the Week, presented by State Farm. Since we know the importance of lending a hand, we want to highlight players and plays that help the team bring home the big W. If you have a favorite assist from this week that you want us to highlight, tweet the clip with the hashtag NALCS and the hashtag State Farm Assist, and we may feature it in a future episode. So get out there and bring some support.